My name is Tiffany Slater, and I'm a patient here at Cancer Center for Healing. I started coming here in May of 2023. I am still continuing my healing journey here. I am a stage 4 breast cancer patient, and I am from a small town in Clare, Michigan. Mom's family's from Georgia. My dad's family's from Michigan. Ethan's family's from Michigan. My parents live just a few miles down the road. My husband's mom lives a few miles down the road too, the opposite direction, so we're really blessed to have their support and family around at home. Me and my husband were both born and raised in the town that we live in, and we've known each other about 13 years, and this year will be our 10-year anniversary. We met at a friend's bonfire party right after high school. We'd both just gotten out of high school, and it's just history ever since. We have a 6-year-old daughter named Olive. She's the light of our life. Well, we homeschool, so I think teaching her and watching that light bulb go off and just being a big part of her learning journey is really special. I think this cancer diagnosis, mostly we were looking for ways to spend the most time together, and homeschooling is just a great time to spend together, and she's in kindergarten, so it's not all serious. So the first time I was diagnosed with breast cancer, I was 27 years old. It was 2018, and I had just had my daughter 6 months ago, so I was breastfeeding. Like a lot of young moms who are unfortunately diagnosed with cancer these days, I had found a lump and ignored it for a little bit because I was breastfeeding. Finally went to the doctor, and it was confirmed that it was stage 3 breast cancer that had already spread to my lymph nodes. And so I did the conventional route of surgery, radiation, chemo, and then hormone therapy. And I was blessed to be in remission for 5 years. And those 5 years were, by God's grace, an amazing time with my family. But this past February of 2023, we learned that the cancer had returned in my liver, my bones, and my brain as stage 4 metastatic breast cancer. And so now I'm 33, and I discovered the Cancer Center for Healing here in Irvine, and it's really helped change my perspective on what could be a really grim diagnosis. These days you meet people online who have similar diagnosis. I met this girl, Jen, and we both knew of Jane because obviously her viral story and everything. So she had said, this is the center Jane went to, Nightbirde, she called her. I started researching, and it really aligned with my values, and I looked at other centers around the country, and this one just seemed to fit into my beliefs. And after talking with Dr. Roney and Dr. Keneally and Trish, you'll never meet anyone like them. They're really there to fight for you, and it's been a blessing. So I started coming here in May of 2023, so it's almost been a year now. When I first started coming, it was overwhelming because you're getting lots of new information, meeting new doctors, and within a couple weeks I was settled right into doing all kinds of modalities and treatments, and just feeling a sense of hope and support that was a missing piece for me. I had already heard about Jane before, kind of in the breast cancer community. I was diagnosed back in 2018, similar time around Jane, and after her story went viral, she was obviously kind of like a North Star to a lot of cancer survivors, because she was someone who, despite her circumstance, was still going after her dreams, was still out there doing it. And when she passed, there was a moment of, what are we gonna do? What are we all gonna do if Jane passed? What would happen to the rest of us? But, I think her story and the gift of hope and things to keep her legacy going are all part of the great blessing that she left behind. So. Well, it's, a cancer diagnosis can be so crippling in your everyday life. Things change and you're not able to do those big things anymore. And in my mind, it was, and it still is, it's hard to dream big when you have big problems. And Jane was still dreaming really big, I feel like all the way until the end. So that was a really cool thing about her. I think having, my faith at the forefront is kind of leading me in the end. That's something I can always come back to. That's always going to be there for me. But I think the women who have gone before me are a huge part of the story too, because cancer is really hard and it's not something that can easily be understood by someone who hasn't went through it or someone who doesn't have a relative going through it. And to read stories or hear stories or share your own story is really important because it gives you that little glimpse that says, if they can do it, I can do it. So I think, integrative medicine is obviously the best of both worlds, conventional and functional, holistic, and it's not cheap. So I'm from a really small town and, sometimes that can be a good or bad thing, but in this case it was a really good thing because my town at first, and they still are, but they really rallied around me and had a large benefit, and that was how we kind of jump-started coming to Cancer Center for Healing. And I think part of that was me sharing my story a little bit online and just letting people know the insides of what I'm thinking and what's going on. And from there, I met some great people on social media and got some funding, and then I was introduced to the Nightbirde Foundation. That was a huge blessing to be able to support our family and continue to come to Cancer Center for Healing. Cancer can be, sometimes you just want to be better, but it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. And even though I just wanted this all to be over, it takes time. And so I'm still working on it. And donors and people who care and have the heart to give, are the reason why people like me can do stuff like this. Well, I received a gift of hope from Mitch, Jane's brother, and it was very inspired by Jane. Her writing, if anyone hasn't read it yet, it's very raw and real and relatable. And same with her music, obviously they go hand in hand. And you might think, you're not sure what to do when someone's diagnosed with cancer at first and how to support them. And you might think just a small gift or a box of goods is not enough, but it's those small things that actually keep giving us light and keep us going. And I think anyone diagnosed with cancer should be gifted a gift of hope or something that can just give them that little edge to keep going. I think some of my biggest challenges for anyone who's diagnosed with cancer at a young age is just keeping your mindset positive and not letting the devil inside your head. And it also takes a toll on families financially and takes a toll on your body physically. So I think things have changed, like I said, what I can do day to day. And so that's been a challenge, but life is still worth doing, it's still worth living. And, even though it's challenging, I'm still here. I would remind women who are going through their breast cancer journey that they are ultimately in control of their health and they are their own best advocate, and no one knows your body like you do. So even in moments where you feel like you're being told there is no hope, it's a big world out there and there is a lot of resources. So I just say don't lose hope. When I was in kindergarten, my mom was diagnosed with lung cancer, and it had spread to her throat, and she was also stage 4, and it was a very scary and grim time in our life. And now she's been in remission for over 20 years, and so I use her story too as, why can't that be me? And I was that little girl, just like my daughter is now, that just wanted her mom to be healthy. And I think it's important to remember that it is possible. So never stop fighting. Well, first, I think anyone who's dealing with something really serious, cancer or not, they can easily lose the spark inside of them. And it can really be put out by different things, whether it be the surroundings you're in, the medical provider you have you're unhappy with. It could be anything. So I would say it's not impossible to get your spark back. And if you're feeling like you are at your lowest low, your spark can still come back, because it has for many people. And when I was first diagnosed, my doctor said most women make it to about 24 months with your diagnosis. And it was like I was delivered a box with my time in it. And, I didn't ask to look in that box, but I was told how much time I had. And that kind of took my spark away for a minute. But if you just keep going and keep searching, there's people and things out there that will bring your spark back. I think Trish, Dr. Keneally, was part of that spark. I think having them tell me it's not over till it's over was part of that. And just being here and feeling better physically brought it back. And just praying, keeping my faith. Well, when I am perfectly healed of all my cancer, I will be at home in my garden, still homeschooling my daughter, doing things outside that I love. I enjoy the simple things in life. I enjoy nature and being home and homesteading things. And so I think I would just hone it all when I'm home and just love on my family. Jane has a big dream, but not everyone needs a dream as big as Jane's to keep going. It's people like her that we look to keep our little stuff going. And so even if your dream is small, it's still worth it.
I was a stick of dynamite and it just was a matter of time, yeah. Oh dang, oh my, now I can't hide.